What is up? Welcome to Moneyball Bets for June 10th. How's everyone doing? My name is Erik from eTalk221 Sports. And the man next to me is David, a.k.a. Better DP21. David, how you doing this lovely morning, my friend?
Doing great, man. I mean, I just wish Colorado could keep it together. They always have beautiful mornings and a stormy, crazy thunderstorm afternoon. So hoping the weather holds up. But, that's here nor there. I just want to be able to get outside for a bit.
Now, totally random. Did you get any of that forest fire stuff? Any of the smoke coming out?
Like 2 weeks ago. I mean, so like when everybody was like having their apocalypse kind of moments, like this week or whatever, I'm like, wow, yeah, that already hit us. Like, I mean, it was it obviously came down from Canada, but I remember I couldn't see the mountains, and one of my friends was out here visiting, and we were trying to go do a pretty scalable hike, and I was like, is it going to be worth the views because we can't see anything? So anyway, it did hit us, but it was funny because I had East Coast coworkers this week that I was talking with, that were like, oh man, the smoke and the hail and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it just sounds like a standard day in Colorado. So
That's a Tuesday for us, bud.
yeah, exactly.
Interesting slate of games. Interesting to see what you have in store. Obviously, I'm not going to be betting my Tigers. You want to talk about teams that are just monumentally struggling right now? It's like the two teams I like. The Tigers can't score shit, and the Brewers can't score shit. Like my two teams are just pitiful right
now. So you mean like my Oakland bet last night was amazing?
That was a great call by you. And yeah. I was supposed to go to the game. I decided not to go to the game because someone does have 42-1 for Jamal Murray to lead the NBA Finals in assists. So I wanted to see if I could get that home. But
that's nice.
We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk some MLB. So, David, as always, you're going to kick off. We're going to be telling our 3 bets that we're locking in for the day. What's your first bet, my friend?
Yeah, the first game that I'm looking at on the board today is actually going to be here at home for me. Looking at the Padres at Colorado. I'm looking at Colorado first 5 on the money line. Main reason for this is these are actually pretty comparable hitting teams right now. San Diego, I've got ranked pretty much 7th right now in total offense. I've got Colorado ranked number 10 in total offense. So they may not be winning games, but they are definitely hitting the ball right now. And I follow that offense. I mean, I just mentioned it, for last night. I called out Oakland straight up on their money line, plus 170 in the first 5 innings last night. And I had them ranked as my number 2 overall offensive team, and that showed up. And I think this is going to be the same here. When you look over at San Diego and Ryan Weathers for going on the mound today, guess how high over under on his ERA of 6? Over. Exactly. This man has got an ERA of sporting above 8+ right now. And you're taking on one of those teams that's hitting really well. I mean, like I said, Colorado didn't win the game, but they made it a game. They kept finding ways to put up, offense throughout the game. I think they'll jump out early. This is just what Colorado does. Teams come over here, they get acclimated a little bit to the weather, and it usually doesn't work out for them. So sometime in their series of a game, over the weekend, you usually see a team drop one to them with, Colorado's. That's obviously why this isn't such a high money line too, right? Like I think, Vegas obviously recognizes as much, just between the starting pitcher's ERA. But again, this is something I don't want to go the full game. I want to actually know that Colorado has a chance to win. I want to take advantage of this starting pitcher. So I'm sticking at the first 5.
I like it. I like it a lot. I always look to take Colorado, in the first 5 before it gets to that bullpen, especially when they're playing at home. I like that bet a lot. My first one, and you know what? Some people call me a stubborn old man, and maybe I'm being a goddamn stubborn old man. Give me Brian Wu over 4.5 Ks at plus 110.
You stubborn old man.
He had 4 Ks in 2 innings last game.
Get away from Brian Wu.
I am a Brian Wu believer, goddammit. And you know what? Son of a bitch, He's going to ball out today, and I'm going to be flooding your text messages with
I hope you do.
shit talking. I'm going to buy you a Brian Wu jersey if I can find one, and I'm going to ship it to your house.
Oh, man.
4 Ks in 2 innings. 6 batters, 6 outs, 4 Ks. Shorts, he should have had more. There was 3 times when he was had 0-2 and gave up a hit. I think he's going to learn from that. Obviously, that was against the Rangers, who are one of the hotter teams in MLB right now, playing the Angels today. Rangers have the 5th most Ks versus righties, and they're striking out at a 26% strikeout rate against right-handers. Second start, going to be less nervous. He's not going to hang the ball in the zone as much. I like my boy Wu over 4.5 Ks at +110 as my first bet. What is your next bet, my friend?
Now, all right. So I just really need you to get off of Brian Wu. Like I can't say it enough. All right. And I think you're having PTSD about the Rangers because he's playing the Angels. So, the Angels are actually one of my top 10 hitting teams right now. And that's why I tried to warn you last week when he was taking on the Rangers.
You know
I told
what?
you about their offensive prowess. And now here it is again, as the Angels are getting hot bats. I'm just,
for the year, they have the 5th most strikeouts in MLB against righties, though, dude. For the year.
I hope you get there. I really do.
I
hope he doesn't get pulled in
he's not
2 innings or whatever it is.
Dude, okay, dude. If he hits this shit, I'm gonna. Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna have a field day. Well, my boy Wu just puts on a fucking show. I'm gonna have a fucking field day.
I mean, he should get there. He should get there. I'm telling you, the offensive, the Angels are just ready to hit, man. Angels are ready to hit. All right, where am I going? All right. So my next bet is the Mets at Pittsburgh. So I actually had Pittsburgh yesterday as well. I had the Mets yesterday, but that was like pretty much their only advantage. Now, granted, that was more of a 50-50 game in my opinion, kind of going into it. So I wasn't too surprised to see, Pittsburgh jump all over them the way they did. Right now, Pittsburgh is my number 6 overall offensive ranked team. Obviously, yesterday they put up 14 runs. Today, they have a very similar pitching matchup, both for Pittsburgh with Oviedo and the Mets with Senga. They're each sporting ERAs, right around 3. So both of them are in good form. Obviously, the Mets and Pittsburgh have been able to put up some runs, so also good form. Where I see the advantage in this game go to is Pittsburgh's bullpen. They're actually sporting ERA under 3 for their available bullpen today. That's where I like to go when I'm making these decisions on, first 5 full game, which way I want to go on that. And I honestly just think, Pittsburgh's got that confidence. They got a little swag right now. They're running hot, and they got the pitching and the bullpen to support them. Give me the plus money at home with the dog, home team. So that's where I'm going on my second bet today.
So one quick question for you. When you're looking back at past performances, what's your sample size? Are we talking 10 days, week, 2 weeks, month? Like what's kind of the sample size you look at?
I look at the week. Usually it's right around 3 to 5 games, right? So when I'm looking at the pitching, I'm looking at their last 3 performance games. When I'm looking at when I'm looking at their overall total offense, it's coming to the last 3 to 5 games based on how they're doing with their offense and just overall hits and runs scored. I mean, you described Detroit perfectly. Last week you're like, hey, they're hitting the shit out of the ball. And I was just like, yeah, but they're not scoring runs. Like they're not putting people across the plate. And I can't bet on a team that I can't support as, not putting up runs. I mean, you can't get the job done. That's it. So, that's usually my sample size when it comes to looking at the current stats. But obviously I've got seasonal stats, that I run up against as well. So I can see the bigger picture of, just how that team is doing. And Pittsburgh's having a great season.
Now, you mentioned Detroit. Now we'll use them as an example.
Sure.
Let's look at them from starting Saturday, full week. 1 run, 2, 3, 0, game postponed, 2. But last night they plated 6. So do
Right.
you like try to get out ahead of the curve and be like, okay, they scored 6 last game. They're starting to hit the ball better. Do I want to get out ahead of the curve, or do you need a couple more games for them to consistently do that?
I usually need a couple more games for them to consistently do that. I mean, when I'm looking at that again, in this case with them, I'm looking at their last 3 average, what's their average run scoring right now? And the median for the league is 4.5, right? Detroit, even with that sample size, is sitting at like 2.7 runs per
Mhm.
game. So, they're below the median average for the league. And I have them offensively ranked right at about 24, coming into today's game. So, they're just not putting enough runs on the board, in my opinion. But I don't try to get out ahead in that way. I mean, it might be an indicator that they're turning their bats around and finding the way to produce that offense that you're talking about to get ahead of it. But I would need another game or two before I could actually trust, betting on their offense in that fashion, because everything that before that is just showing way too few runs scored in order for me to, support that.
So basically, what you're telling me is you have 38th behind the Columbus Clippers. The Columbus Clippers are hitting better than the my Tigers right now. The Frisco Rough Riders are hitting better than my club right now.
That's it.
It's a brutal thing. So you mentioned it, kind of looking at like the last week sample size, and that's what I did with this play. And I'm going to tell them both at the same time because it's the same, tied in the
Okay.
same game. I did the Royals for the first 5 at plus 130 and for the game at plus 140. Bradley Singer, he's on the mound. He's for the Royals. He's looked good his last two starts, only giving up 2 runs, striking out 13. Flip side, when we look at the Orioles offense, they've really been struggling this last 7 days. Batting 230, averaging only 3.7 runs per game and striking out at a 30% rate. Also, Cole Irwin is on the mound for the Orioles. He has been absolutely putrid this year. Just looking at him, 4 innings pitched, gave up 6, 4 and 2/3 innings, gave up 3, 4 innings, gave up 6. In his last start, he only was there for a third. So I'm going to take the Royals here plus 130 for the first 5 and plus 140 for the game.
Yeah, I know we talked about this a little bit before, and I would agree with you. I think my only thing that I think I jumped out at me again is just Kansas City's offense to support what they have is probably a stronger pitcher than the Orioles for sure. But if they're going to do it against anybody, you called it right. Like I think it would be against Irvin for the Orioles for sure because he's like he's just as bad as the guy I was calling out earlier with the ERA of 8 Weathers for Padres today.
He's bad, dude. I mean, let's not
Really
sure.
bad.
He's bad. He's really bad. But the question is he as bad as Joey Wentz for the Detroit Tigers? A solid 1-8, 7.49 ERA, 1.76 WHIP. So
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. That's for sure.
David, last bet of the day, my friend.
All right, last bet. This is a value bet. I've been giving out these value bets. They've been money for us. So I'm looking at the Cincinnati Reds at St. Louis. We are talking about 2 very evenly matched teams here. Both I have actually Cincinnati and St. Louis, both respectively ranked similarly at number 16 overall offense. Cincinnati's been pretty exciting to watch, and honestly, this is a very similar pitching matchup too. Mikolos has actually been in really good form his last few games at home. At home, actually, it's interesting. He's got a worse ERA at home than he does on the road. His ERA at home is 4.5. His ERA away has been right about 3. Either way, his last few starts have been very, very good for himself. And the same thing goes for the Reds, though. I mean, they got Andrew Abbott on the mound. and he actually is sporting ERA of 0 right now. Granted, we're
You
talking about one sport. One
I hit the double with him. I had him first 5, and for the game last start out, he looked
right.
absolutely amazing against the Brewers.
Right. And that's just kind of where my head goes when I look at this, because I'm like, evenly offense, even pitching matchup here. Even as I look over to see what the bullpen looks like for the available bullpen for the day, Cincinnati's got a stronger bullpen ERA at 3.14. So, for the line of where it's at right now at plus one, pretty much plus 150. I mean, I'd rather go that way in terms of playing dog where I can, dog on the road, especially knowing that they're going to get a guaranteed 9 at bats, and if they're up, then they'll just close it out with their strong closer there. So I really like this where it's at in terms of just a big value play on the board today, and want to bring home another big win like I did for Oakland last night.
We do have a question in here. De La Cruz plus home run plus 630 thoughts.
I love the odds on that, of course. You're talking about two pretty strong pitchers, and I guess if anybody's going to give one up, Miklos could be that guy. I just mentioned he's got a higher ERA at home. A lot of other factors go into those kinds of decisions for me. I'd have to look at like ballpark weather conditions, things along those lines. But I love the odds that you're getting there. I mean, obviously he's a hot name this week, just coming up and proving his worth the way he has. Everybody's got eyes on him. I think it's touchy. I mean, obviously if you're going to do it, do a small unit on that of some kind. But can't stop you from something that looks pretty, tempting to do there.
Reds, plus 3,500 to win it. David is hyping up the Reds. Ooh.
I am hyping up the Reds. I back it up. I put my money where my mouth is. Let's see. Let me check something real quick on that one. Talking futures bets here. So,
well, here's my thought. I mean, this De La Cruz kid seems to be it. He seems to be the real deal. I really love, he's rocking the old school Eric Davis 44. Abbott kid looked pretty solid. Yep. My one worry is, but they're playing in the Central, and do we really trust any of those teams in the Central?
That's kind of where my head was. I was about to say the same thing. I mean, teams in front of them, Pittsburgh having a year, Milwaukee and St. Louis are always the two teams that you think of when you think of the Central to like come out on top at the end, or at least be competitive, right? And we're only talking everybody's within 7 games of each other right now, before the break. So it's I don't think it's a terrible bet to make, in terms of saying Cincinnati to win the Central. They get their pitching in line. They've got the offense. It's called the Big Red Machine for a reason. I've always liked Cincinnati since I was a kid, though. So, for me, that would be something really cool to see.
That's to win the World Series. I mean, that would be bold, dude. But I mean,
that's really bold.
I guess my thing is this: if we could just if that number is so big, it's such a big number. Let's say they do, because right now they are 5 games back of the Brewers and the Pirates. In the wild card, they are 5 games back. Okay. No, 5 games back. Mm-hmm. So they'd have to pass the Giants, Phillies, Padres, and Mets just to get into the wild card. I think it's a better path for them to get into if they are going to make it, to get into the Central. So I'd better, like you're saying, I'd play him to win the Central right now instead of to win the World Series.
Yep.
Just because to win the World Series, I mean, it is a huge number, easy hedge opportunity, but their only chance is to win the Central. Pirates are having a year. They'll probably come back down to earth. Brewers, I mean, they're a negative 18 run differential. They can't, you know what I mean? They're banking on their pitching staff.
Big time.
To win these 2-1 games. So, yeah, Reds to win Central. I'd play that instead of playing it to win it all.
I agree. I mean, first of all, I think my Braves have a really good shot at going far again. I'm going to be biased on that, but their offense has been top 5 all year, and if they get their pitching together, they are leaning on young pitchers right now. And when they get people like Fried back, like Kyle Wright back, I mean, it's going to be a world of a different team out there looking, like it'll be competing with them. And I don't know actually who else right now, but maybe Miami, Texas. Texas is for real. I'll put it that way. Texas is definitely for real.
So we're just talking about runs scored. Guess what team has the lowest amount of runs scored?
Like for the season or what?
For the season.
It's got to be Detroit.
218.
Is it Detroit?
Yeah, with 218.
Yeah.
218. The next highest
Oakland. Oakland's doing better than Detroit.
235 Oakland, 241 for the Guardian.
City.
For the Guardian.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 239 for Kansas City. I didn't see that one right there. But it's kind of weird, like, and this is kind of how perception goes. Like I mentioned the Brewers and everything. The Brewers have only scored, and everyone thinks the Padres offense, who doesn't really follow stuff as deeply as you and I do, thinks this Padres offense is this world-class offense. Padres have only scored 7 more runs than the Brewers this year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. David, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking some baseball, coming a little early because of my crazy-ass schedule in my life. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend?
Yeah, as always, anybody, you ever got questions, please feel free to reach out. Better DP21 on Twitter and Instagram. More active on Twitter, so reach out to me there, shoot me a DM, tag one of my posts. I'm posting throughout the week. You'll probably see some of the what do we call those? Good beats. I had a great beat with Cincinnati earlier in the week. I think it was Tuesday night. I know I was at Rockies Field with the family, and I was watching this one. I threw out like Cincinnati plus 1.5 over the Dodgers, and they walked it off to actually. I just needed 1 run in the ninth. They were down 2, and then they ended up winning like straight outright on a walk off. And I was just like, okay, I'll take that one. That was my good beat of the week there.
Well, I'll bitch about some bad beats then. I may have put it 30-1 for Joker to outscore Butler in every single game of the NBA playoffs. And Butler outscored him by 2. Was
that last night?
And then last night, yeah. And then and then I was like, you know what? They're going to want to get Porter going. You know what? I see Porter 10-1 to score the first basket. Son of a bitch, dude. Missed the layup for the first basket. Missed a layup. But he did go over his point total. I'm sitting on Denver 20-1. Murray awesome. 42-1 to have the most assists. I got plus 130 for Joker to be the leading scorer. I can't bitch because my bets are looking great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bitch about that one with fucking.
I don't know how you end up in those spots. Every time I talk to you about futures bets when it comes to the finals of things, you're like, I'm just sitting back, relaxing, having a beer. Because
I'm telling you, dude,
what do you have to bet on? You're literally just watching money happen.
Dude, that's the best feeling, dude. That's the best.
It is the best feeling.
It's the best feeling, dude. You gotta, dude. I'm like fucking. You ever seen that movie? When it comes to future, what was that movie? The one with Damon. Good Will Hunting, dude. Just give me a whiteboard and a marker. Just let me go to work, and I'll figure out what teams to bet for futures, dude. That's what I do, man.
I love it.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Best of luck if you tail our bets. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be back next week.